Hey, how are you doing, boys and girls? Welcome back to some more Arc Raiders, and today I want to talk about security breach. I've had so many questions and comments on my previous video that it's been nerfed. What's my thoughts on it? How bad has it been nerfed, and is it still worth going for? I'm going to go over my opinions on it, and other people are going to have different opinions. So this one is very opinionated, but I will give you my opinion on if I personally think I'm going to be using it still. So let's get straight into the video. Now, just something to take note if you haven't actually read the Discord about the changes. It says in the notes earlier, we missed the security locker drop rate change. We understand that this change affects those who are specifically aimed for that skill tree spec. We're exploring the possibility of adding a skill reset mechanic. Balance is important for us, and both overperforming and underperforming skills will be adjusted over time. And this is just something to take note here, right? They're going to have to change perks, or the skills. There is some which are really underwhelming, and there's some which are very strong, like security breach. And I do agree to starting out that security breach needed to be changed, because when I had security breach, I felt like every other type of loot place was just meh. I didn't see the point of going to loot it. I would just go to my security breaches, get the stuff from there because it was just good. It was really good. And then get out, and my loot was basically consistent from security breaches and other players, and that was it, and getting out. And it kind of made looting around other places just not as fun, personally for me. And so I do think it was pretty strong. I had like epic weapons all over the place. Epic weapons weren't like a fun find for me anymore because the security breach was so strong. So I do agree they needed to change it, and they do need to change it fast because this game doesn't have forced wipes. So if people are absolutely grinding security lockers and more people keep on unlocking the security breach skill, there's going to be more people just, with their stashes full of epic weapons and really good resources, right? So they had to make a drastic change. They're going to change things like this because there's no forced wipes. If there's forced wipes, I think it's a little bit different, because then everyone just will get put back, after a certain time when the next wipe comes along. But because there's no force, and a lot of people are not going to be doing the expeditions from, again, what my previous video was, I can see, they happen to make this change fast. Now, let's just talk about the survival tree in general. This is another one in terms of why it's not a massive kick in the gut. For me, personally at least, because I think the survival tree is a very strong tree. It's very good, and you're not wasting points speccing into it. It's not like all of these perks here are completely useless, and the only reason you specced into the survival tree was to go for security breach, right? I would still spec a lot into this tree, even if I knew security breach was bad, right? So there's definitely some things here I would change. I don't think I would spec as much into agile crouch this time. I'm not going to be specking into these this time. But there are some really nice skills I would still be using. Things like Looter's Instincts. Suffering Silence, is not that great, but you have to choose it just so you can get to Broad Shoulders, which is a very good perk. And then Looter's Luck is a very good perk, obviously combined with Looter's Instinct. You also have things like Good as New, which is actually quite a nice perk too, while under the healing effect, stamina regeneration is increased. So if you're running and you fall off a higher height, which kind of damages you a bit, and you quickly heal, you're going to get stamina. Or if you get hit by something, quickly just pop a bandage or something like that, you're going to get more stamina regeneration for a bit. It's really nice, right? And then you got Stubborn Mule, and you also have the 3 deep breaths. Now, I personally would be taking these points off here and security breach, and then going with Stubborn Mule, and then 1 in Stubborn Mule, and then they 3 deep breaths, and going into this to get more stamina. After ability drains your stamina, you recover more quickly. So you're basically just recovering stamina a lot more. The thing is, this survival tree is a really good tree. I don't feel like I've wasted too many points, and when we worked it out, I think we wasted 6 or 7 skill points tops to go for the security breach. I could mostly get 6 or 7 skill points back and spec it into one of the other places over here, but it wasn't that much of a kick where we've wasted 36 skill points, because that is one of the arguments I see quite a bit of, is people going, well, I've now wasted 36 skill points for nothing. Well, not really, because the whole survival tree is a very, very good tree. I will say, personally for me, I don't think it's worth it anymore. I don't think going for the security breach is worth, and I'd rather spec the 6 or 7 points into something else and expend other perks. The reason being is it's kind of gone from seeing loads of epics and blues to basically hardly seeing any, and I know this is going to be very RNG because maybe my RNG was absolutely horrendous, but everyone on stream who was watching were all saying the same thing, like the lockers were absolutely trash. Like we were not getting anything very good. Like I think in 4 hours, and you'll see here, like we weren't really getting too much. We got like, I think 1 blue weapon in the whole entire time we looted in those 4 hours. We didn't see any epics whatsoever. We got a few greens weapons, but that's really basically it. We also got 3 wolf pack nades in total, which again, wolf packs are nice, but you can find them quite easily in other locations, which was the video coming up very shortly, by the way. But yeah, the loot wasn't as good. You're kind of getting hardly as much. You're not really getting as much as you were before, and I hardly saw epics or blues in my runs. And even when I played today with my mate Marcus, we was looting security breaches on the new map, and again I didn't get any epics, I didn't get any blues in the security breaches. So maybe my luck is just horrendous, or they've just double nerfed it for me compared to some other streamers saying that they're still getting loads of stuff. I personally am not getting that much, and so in my eyes and my findings on the time I've spent going for security lockers on the nerf, I'm definitely not going to be using it. I'm going to be speccing into something else. So let's now look at the security tree, because we hopefully are going to get a respec, and I'm going to show you what I'm going to actually put my skill tree to now. Not in maybe a particular order. I'm still trying to decide what order I want to do this in, but I'm going to show you what my new skill tree is going to look like. So if you are wanting to follow the kind of same path as myself, you're more than welcome to. And also give you reasons if you think this is a wrong way to go, or what you're personally going to go for. Leave, comment down below, and I'll be interested to kind of read what your thoughts are on the take. So again, this is in no particular order, but this is how I'm going to spend my 75 skill points. And you got to also remember that when an expedition comes, you can also spend another 5, and I will be including them in this skill tree in terms of where I want to go. So we'll kind of just start from the left and go all the way to the right. All right, and again, this is in no particular order. I think in order, if I was gonna be asked which I would go, I think I'd just kind of get the mobility done first, and then I can kind of go into this. So maybe we'll do the mobility first. Okay, so I would only spec 1 into nimble climber, and then we kind of spec your 10 into useful lungs and marathon runner, which just give you the this help with stamina, increase stamina, and you use less stamina when moving about. I also would spec 5 into mobility. People were asking me about this one if it's worth it, and when I first thought about it, I didn't think it was, but then when I was actually been testing it a little bit more and looking back at footage when I didn't have slip and slide maxed, it is quite good. Like, it's very, very good for, like, definitely PvP encounters. When you slide, you kind of slide a little bit further, and when you're going down the hill, you can slide for quite a bit, and it's quite handy for getting up stamina in certain times. I've had some quite nice clutches with this when I've been going down a hill, and I'll just continue to slide trying to get away from fire, and I've then got more stamina back, which has been quite nice. So I did spec into it, because you do need to spec a bit into this to unlock the next perks, right? When it comes to this, we'll go with carry momentum, which is quite a nice perk, and it goes well with other perks, which we'll talk about afterwards. But yeah, definitely go with carry momentum. We won't be going up this way. I'm not really too fussed about all this. Not too fussed about calming stroll. I think it's pretty bad, because you have to walk, which is not the jog, which you do kind of like naturally when you're not running. You actually have to press a key to enable walking, and then you'll start regenerating your stamina, which I don't think is worth. So we'd be getting into effortless roll, and we'd spec 5 into this. All right, and then we would also spec 5 into heroic leap, and that way we've got our 27 specs into mobility, and I think that is pretty worth. I think this here is just going to help us with not having our stamina go down as much, and will also We're going to be able to sprint, dodge roll further, and we're going to also use less stamina. And there's going to be other things which kind of help go into this too, as we spec into the other trees. So yeah, I would mostly spec into mobility first and just get this done, and that's my first 27 points. And you could think of it as, well, most people should be getting 5 extra skill points at the start if we do earn those extra bonus points on the reset when the expedition comes. So it's only 22. You only have to get to level 22 basically theoretically to get these the mobility tree done. Let's go up now into the conditioning side of things, and I would spec first 1 to used to weight, because I can't remember how we worked this out on stream, but I think I did spec more into used to the weight. But for now I'm just going to spec my 1, and then we've got a few others here. I want to spec 1 into here, and I want to spec this again. This is not in order really. I'm just kind of showing what ones I would like to go with. I would like to go with fight or flight. When you're hurt in combat, regain a fixed amount of stamina, has a cooldown. Again, it's just like giving you free stamina, right, for certain things happening to you. For this one, it's when you're getting hurt, you're going to be recovering a certain amount of stamina. I think that's quite worth. So again, I would spec 5 into that. I'm not really too fussed about blast spawn. Gentle pressure, we talked about this in the previous video. I'm not too fussed about the noise making perks. I'm only going to spec 1 into them to go on to the next one. You may be different to this, and you may want to spec into this. I think a lot of people saying I think it's more affecting the arc and not aggro in the arc, and so maybe you don't want to aggro the arc as much and you may want to spec into it. I personally don't care. I'll just shoot the arc if they get aggroed, so it doesn't bother me. So we'll now go into the 5 proficient prior. It'd be nice. It is a lot better to try and breach faster and loot faster. It's just going to help you save time and also maybe not get you caught out in the middle of a breach from someone maybe creeping up on you. So go on this. We've now made our 13, and then the other ones I would spec into would be the used to the weight, okay, just to get the 15. I think that's why I've spec'd a little bit more into it. I think this is basically for your shields, like the negatives which add to the blue and purple shields. And so specking into this a little bit can help with the negatives with the movement reduction. So if we go on to the next ones, I would actually pick both of these. They're both really nice. When critically hurt, you stamina regenerates faster. Again, you're just going to have these 2 proccing all the time when you're getting shot at from arc and players. So I think they are really, really good. Unburden roll is a nice one because it combines with carry the momentum. So if your shield breaks when she gets shot, especially if you're running like a green shield and you get shot by a Pharaoh, it will one-shot the shield for you, and then you just dodge roll and you'll get that for free. And then once you do dodge roll, you'll also have sprinting, which doesn't consume stamina, which is quite nice for a little while. So these 2 go in a nice little combo, and that's why I like them. Here then, not really too fussed about the other sides here, just want to go up the middle here and select them. And that is basically the perks selected here. That's our 19 selected here. So obviously we have to spec into Agile Croucher. This is one I would definitely change this time. I maxed it out last time, and I'm only going to spec into 1. I don't think it is as worth as I thought it would be. I know I don't really use crouching that much to creep up on people as much as I thought I would. So this one, not too fussed about it. I'm just going to spec into 1. And we're going to go into Looter's Instincts and 100% max this one out so we can loot faster. We're all going to go into Revitalize and Squat. I'm going to put in 1 for now just so I can unlock the in-round crafting. We're going to have to spend some points here to go onto this, so you might as well go with in-round crafting. It can help a little bit now and again. It isn't a perk as much. I didn't use as much as I thought, but it's still something you kind of maybe need to spec into just because you need to unlock your 15 points, right? Now, when it comes to Revitalize and Squat and Silent Scavenger, I'm going to go with 1 on here just because we are going to need it to go up. And we're going to have to spend a few more points anyway. I'm going to spend it on Revitalize and Squat. Stamina regeneration while crouch is increased. I'd rather just get more stamina regeneration than making less noise. So I'm going to go with that. Again, this could be preference. You may think just spec 1 onto this and spec more into this. Again, because this is going to be a preference thing, really. If you want to make less noise against the arc, go for it. I don't personally care too much about it. And so I'm just going to have it like this. I will, though, however, spec 2 into this to kind of unlock the extra perks we need to go into the next part of this, right? So we're now at level 61, and we will go with quickly hurt, and we will have to go with this one because we do want to go up this side too. I will then spec into 5 on here. Broad shoulders is really, really good. It's going to add basically 2 extra weight per point, overall making it an extra 10 extra weight carry rate you can do with your looting, which I think is very good. And this one, again, I'm going to max out because I think it's very, very good. That is your looter's luck. Now, this is where those extra 5 perks, because we're at level 73, which means we have 8 perks to spend if we did get those extra 5 skill points we'll get from the expedition when it comes, right? At the minute, if you're only level 75, and including myself, right, I would just go into 1 into Stubborn Mule and 1 into here. And for now, just have it like that. And then those extra points, so we get 5 extra points here, I would spend 4 into 3 deep breaths. So I'd max that out. And then I would then I have 1 perk left, and that would be just trying to decide where I want to go with it. I haven't really decided. I think I'd mostly go with the Traveling Tinkerer, just to say I have it if I need it for something. Maybe I need a clutch to make the hatch key, but there also is a really good point someone made from a previous video. It doesn't lock in rank crafting for traps, and traps are quite strong in certain situations, and they can be handy to have on you. And so if you haven't got the blueprints to make those traps, being able to make them in round can be actually pretty handy if you haven't got the blueprints. So I would most probably spec into 1 into Traveling Tinkerer 2. And that's how I would go. If it's the 75 points here, I would most probably just take this off and go here, and then wait for the 5 points and then max out 3 deep breaths. I think that's how I'd personally go. And this is how I'm going to spec into it. I'm not going to spec into Security Breach. For me personally, don't think it's that worth. I'd rather have more passives which are always going around all the time, which are always kind of working for me when I need to. And I don't think I'm going to miss Security Breach because there's actually quite a lot of loot rooms, and considering we've now got the new map Stella coming out, well, it is out, it has some really good loot in that map. And some people may not like this new map coming out because it is a very close quarters map. I do think they need to change some of the kind of spawns in it. I think the spawns is absolutely ridiculous sometimes, but it's a very good map for making good loot. The loot there's pretty generous, so it's a high risk high reward map, and that is what it is. You can make some good get some good loot from that, and so I'm not going to miss the Security Breach because I can just go to Stella Mantis, and there's a load of other really awesome places to go and loot which you can get decent stuff from. We're going to have a video coming out hopefully in the week showcasing a really awesome loot room, which I think is better than the Security Breaches, and you can craft it every single time. So if you want to see that video, be sure to subscribe. We will be having that come out hopefully during the week when I get time. Again, I am not a full-time streamer or content creator for the people who are obviously wanting me to pump out the videos. I appreciate the support you guys have had and given me, and the enthusiasm for seeing the other videos. So thank you. But because I don't work on this full time, I have a full-time job. I am a father. I've got my family to look after. So it is trying to get in the videos when I can on top of the streaming. So hopefully I'll be out next week. I'll get some late nights in and try and get that out for you. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you soon for some more Arc Raiders.